Hi, this is Christy with Time to Profit. I am super happy to see you today. It is like so rainy and dreary here in Bend, which the upside is that means it's sweater weather. So I actually had to go to my other closet and get a sweater today because it is chilly out. If you don't know me, let me tell you a little bit about Time to Profit. I help small business owners win more clients by helping them to create rock solid sales strategies and strengthen their sales skills, because not only is sales one of the most important skills around building a successful business, but when you master sales, it also increases success and confidence in all areas of your life. And so sales isn't just about business. It definitely, once you learn to comfortably sell and to embrace sales in your business, it can take you to a whole other level of growth within that business. But it also will help you build your confidence in all areas of your life and get more things that you want out of life. So that's a little bit about what I do. Today, though, what we are talking about is this idea of not overcomplicating it. So this is really important. When we're in sales and you're talking about what your product or service does for your potential clients, you must keep it simple. Oftentimes, our clients aren't subject matter experts. They don't know as much about what we do as we do. So we talk to them as if they were our peers versus people who want help and don't want to get into the weeds. I have on my whiteboard this question: what if it were simple? What would I do? And that is really, really important when we're talking about the messaging that we use on how we talk to people who might be customers down the road. And I chose this topic today because I cannot tell you the amount of times I see clients overselling what they offer and actually losing business because of this tendency to oversell. And when I say oversell, I don't mean in the sense of overpromising and saying that they can do more than they can. What I mean by overselling is talking too much about what they do, giving the clients way too much information, and in essence, losing the clients along the way because they're overloaded and overwhelmed. When we are overwhelmed, we often choose to do nothing. And so part of your job when you're having sales conversations is to make sure that your clients or your potential clients aren't getting overwhelmed with information, so that they continue to be confident in their ability to move forward and make the solutions that you offer work for them. I want to tell you a little bit about why this is important. So I have a particular client that I work with right now. I'm going to see this across the board with so many of my clients, but this client, they sell a very robust dental software. There are some high technology features of this product or service. Oftentimes, the decision makers are not software experts. They are in the dental practice, and the gatekeepers are receptionists or dental hygienists. They don't care about technology the way that the client does. All they care about is, how is this going to make my day-to-day life more simple, easier? How is this going to make my practice more profitable, right? Those are the things that they care about. And a lot of times when I would first started working with this client, they would go into demos, and these demos would last over an hour because there was so much they wanted to show them about what the software could really do for their practice. And all of that information was great. The problem was, oftentimes in that particular setting, it was too much. We humans are simple creatures. We have short attention spans. We cannot keep our attention all the time for an hour. I mean, I think about me, even when I'm watching a movie or watching a TV show that I'm really engaged in, somewhere in that time period, my mind wanders off to my to-do list, or I'm thinking about something else. And so when we really complicate our selling message, it's hard for people to stay with us and to pay attention. And I don't know about you, but one of the biggest annoyances I have when I'm buying something, whether it's a computer, whether it's a car, is when I've made the decision to buy something and then the salesperson keeps showing me and wants to show me all these features. And I'm like, I don't care. I just want to get my thing and get out of here, right? And I recognize part of that is my personality. I am a quick start. I hate reading the directions. And there are definitely people out there who are going to want more of those detailed information and insights from you. And I want to talk to you about kind of how to navigate that, right? These people that are more fact finders, and we want to make sure we're giving people enough information, but without bombarding them with information that they don't care about. So here's what I want to share with you today. I want to give you some tools on how you can simplify the way that you talk about your product or service and still get those key pieces of information into what you're doing so that you can appease the people that want to have that depth of information. So let's dive right into how you can more simply talk about your product or service without overcomplicating it for your potential clients. So the first thing is, I want you to think for a minute about the last purchase you made. And I want you to think about whether it was going out to eat, whether it was a big purchase like a car or a computer, or maybe it was a small purchase like a pair of jeans. And I want you to think about why you decided to buy that particular thing. It might have been a service. And my hunch is that there's one specific reason that you bought it. Comfort, right? I'm just thinking about jeans. Was it comfort? Was it fit? Was it color, right? Like there's one thing that really stood out to you as the main reason that you bought that product or service. Now, if it was a really complex buying decision, say maybe a computer or hardware or a car, maybe there were 3 key reasons that you bought that. But most of the time, there's not more than 3. We don't care about all the bells and whistles. We don't care about all of the features of the things that we're buying. We only care about the bells and whistles that make life better for us. And there's a clue in here for you, and I want you to really pay attention. The clue is that you need to figure out what is the reason, problem, or challenge that your specific potential customer has, and you have to speak to that one potential area. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. I'm going to talk more about this. Typically, I recommend for people to create for their business or service 3 to 5 key messages around the features that make their product unique, how those are going to make life better for the people who work with you. Keep it really simple. 3 to 5 key messages around your core benefits, right? So what it's going to do for the client. And then underneath that, you can have some of these kind of bullet points of how we do that, the features, right? Why it works. But what I want you to do is underneath those 3 to 5 key messages is I want you to start identifying 3 to 5 questions for each of them to help you discern how important they are to that specific potential prospect. Because not every prospect is going to value the same thing equally. Here's what I don't want you to do. I'll never forget this. When I was in training for my first pharmaceutical job in medical sales, they would teach us this question. What's most important to you? Safety or efficacy? That is like the worst question, right? Like obviously both of those are important to me. If you ask me what's more important, fit, like does it look good or is it comfortable? I'm going to say both. That doesn't mean they're equally important to me, but when you present it like that, I'm going to always choose both. So we have to get better at asking questions. Asking questions is one of the most important sales skills that you have at your disposal. And so I want you to really sit with this and think, what are the questions that I need to be asking? Is it, how much time are you spending entering patient data? Is it, how many hours a week are you spending on marketing? Is it, how much money are you spending or have you spent in marketing in the last 12 years relative to the results that you've gotten, right? You can start, and then the key is to listen. There's going to be certain questions that the client or the potential client is going to just kind of light up about, and they're going to start answering and getting really engaged in how they answer and being really meaningful or mindful about kind of the responses. And all of a sudden you're going to notice their engagement level is going to go up. that means that you are on a sweet spot. And here's the thing, you want to stay in the sweet spot. So think about this like massage, right? Like trigger point in massage. When you find that spot right there, you want to stay on it. You don't want to move off it, because that's where all the results happen, is in that sweet spot. And so once you start to get that excitement and that engagement from the potential prospect, even if there's 4 things that you've identified that are important about your product or service and you haven't had the chance to talk about them, stay in the thing that they care about the most. They will ask you questions if they want to know more, right? And this is harder to do than it seems, because once they're excited about one thing, we want to build on that momentum. We want them to be excited about all the things. But oftentimes what happens is we start talking about these other things, they're not as interested in those other things. And so they start to get distracted and their mind starts to wander, and they start to doubt themselves. They start to say, wow, should I really be spending the money? Is this the right thing for me? Am I going to really use it? Right? So we actually by overcomplicating our messaging and talking too much, tend to put our customers in a position where we make it harder for them to make a decision to move forward. So stay on that trigger point, stay on that sweet spot, get them engaged, get them excited, ask them a lot of questions about it, share how your product or service really speaks to that potential area that they're really interested in. And then what I want you to do is ask them, this is when they're excited and you stay on it and they build excitement about the one thing, this is the time to invite them to the next step, whether that's a proposal, whether that's doing business with you, whether that's a discovery session, whether that's sending them a sample. It's different for every type of business. But here's what's going to happen. If they haven't gotten enough information to appease that fact finder in them, they are going to say, no, I have some concerns about XYZ, or I'm not sure about ABC. Or they're going to start asking you questions. Well, what about this other thing? Awesome. That's your clue to move on to another feature and start the whole process over again, right? So that's good news. They're telling you, this is great. I totally got everything I wanted out of this. Or they're going to ask you more questions about that one feature. But I also need to know about this before I move forward. Great. Now is when we can start really creating that engagement and that conversation around additional features and benefits of our product or service. So then if they say yes, and this is the hard part, let them say yes. Don't keep talking. Say, great. Here's what I propose for the next steps. We're going to do ABC. Does that work for you? Right? I will send you over a contract. I'll send you over a proposal. How does that work for you? What's your timeline? Great. Awesome. And then just be quiet. This is so hard, but don't just feel the need to fill them with more information. They will guide you through the process if they want more information. And then here's the cool thing is after the sale is made, that is the time to delve into the additional features that are going to make their life easier. And you can do that all at once. You can do that through an onboarding process. And this is so cool because oftentimes what happens is there's a lot of energy and effort that we spend making that initial connection, delivering the proposal, getting contract signs. And then once we get the check, it's almost like that intensity of the process disappears, right? So, okay, they've bought. Awesome. Now what? Right? And so what's awesome is if you haven't already given them all of the information, you have a reason to keep them engaged as they're becoming more familiar with your product or service. And at this point, they're already committed. They're looking for evidence to reinforce the decision that they've already made. And they're not as distracted trying to decide if they're going to move forward so they can pay attention to the details and the specifics. So we talked a lot about how to kind of dive in today in terms of not overcomplicating your message. Here's how you can make this meaningful for your business. First, narrow down the 5 best things about your product or service. Make a list. Don't overthink it. 5 best things. Then identify what problem or pain point or desire those 5 things speak to in your potential clients. Then brainstorm 3 to 5 questions around each of your key messages, right? What are the questions that you're going to use to figure out what is important to each individual person you're talking about? Then keep it simple. Once they're excited about one area, let them get all the information they want about that. Let them buy based on one feature. It's okay. They don't have to buy on all of them. They will ask you if they need more information. And then after they've made a purchase decision and you're moving forward, teach them all the things, right? That's the appropriate time to teach them. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to post the 5 best features, or at least one of your best features of your product or service, in the comments below. And 1 to 2 questions that you can ask to help discern how important that is to your potential customers. If you need feedback on that, I'm happy to offer that. Post in the comments below. And then make sure, if you haven't already, head over to mytimetoprofit.com. Again, that's mytimetoprofit.com. Download the sales planning tool and checklist, and that will really help you get comfortable with the process of handpicking the clients you want to work with and creating a plan to connect with them. If you haven't already, if you are watching this on LinkedIn or the Time to Profit Facebook page, find the Time to Profit Facebook group. I do a lot more in-depth work in that group, and you'll get more resources to help you master sales conversations and grow your business. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you next week.